Alright, I know you're looking at the title and you think I'm crazy. I probably am, but it's been a long time since I found a deck that plays like this. This deck is so fun. Having played True Draco, Sky Striker, Altergeist, and a lot of other control / borderline mid-range decks, maybe not so much Altergeist, but Draco, Striker, Cleaforts, played Trickstar in the past, a lot of mid-range decks. We haven't had a good one in a long time. And honestly, I feel like MARINCESS of all decks could be the next really good one. So without further ado, I present to you guys my February 2021 MARINCESS deck profile. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy Pay8. I'm feeling great, and I'm coming at you with another spicy deck profile. Today I have MARINCESS, and like I said, I think this deck has a great amount of potential. This format, very grindy, big, hard to get rid of monsters, and a ton of recursion to boot. This deck is fantastic. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get straight into the main deck. Starting off with the 3 copies of Blue Tank, far and away the most powerful main deck monster in the entire deck, bar none. If she's normal, especially somebody can send one MARINCESS monster from deck to grave. And then if she's used as link material for a water monster and does have to hit the graveyard, so you can't do it through the virtual world Fox. But if she's sent to grave as link material for a water monster, you can reveal the top 3 cards of the deck, take an excavated MARINCESS, and then shuffle the rest back into your deck. So that's super nice. Obviously you can only take 1, you can't take 3 if you hit 3, which is kind of unfortunate, but I mean, you can't make 2 broken cards. But yeah, this card is just super impactful, super high power, just you always want to be normal summoning this. Next card being triple MARINCESS Seahorse. This is sort of like a Crusadia Arborea for the deck. You can basically just special summon it to the zone a MARINCESS points to. That's the only effect that really matters. It also has an effect in grave where you can banish it to special summon a water from hand to the MARINCESS link zone that the zone the link monster points to. But that one really just doesn't come up. I mean, I had to double check it myself just now because it really, you're never using that. You're only using this thing to special itself and then just keep specialing it off of like your link monsters and various things like that. Next, double copies of Pascalis. I don't like playing 3 of this. I know some people do. I just don't like it because this thing eats the hardest imperm in the entire deck for sure. If it's normal special summon, you can special summon a MARINCESS monster from hand in defense. So basically it's kind of like a solid soldier type effect. And then I would actually say the better effect on this thing, like obviously the specialing from hand is great, but the stronger effect in the mid game is if it's in the graveyard, except the turn it's sent, you can banish it and target a MARINCESS spell trap in grave and add it back to hand. So if your opponent like pops your field spell, you can get that back. You can get back a wave, which is really nice. Super good card, and you should definitely play it, but I just don't like it at 3. 1 each of Mandarin, and then one that most people don't even play. It's the Basila Lima. It's the new one we got out of Eternity Code. So basically, what these two do, Mandarin is sort of like a Sea Archiver type monster, where if you have 2 or more MARINCESS monsters while it's in hand or grave, you can target a water link monster you control, special summon it to that zone it points to, but then banish it when it leaves the field. So it's a nice extender. It's not my favorite, but I think it's just something you have to play until we get more really good cards. It's not a bad card for sure. And then Basila Lima, the only thing it really does that's important is if a monster you control be destroyed by card effect, you can banish it from grave instead. So that's really nice, trying to let you play like through the Chuchi. This is the best one to be discarding off of like your Signet Linings, off of like your Swap Frogs, because this just gives you protection to start making your combos. And then the first destruction your opponent have would just completely miss, which is fantastic. Just to give this deck more resiliency, it's really nice. And then if it's banished, like I said, you can target face-up monster you control, it gains 600, which is actually kind of relevant, because in some cases you can buff like some of your link monsters and push for lethal, because this deck doesn't really OTK. It's more built for grinding, but it can definitely like out-resource your opponent and hit him for a lot of damage quickly. But OTKing isn't the main name of the game here. The Honorary MARINCESS is up next in 2 copies of Sea Archiver. If Nibiru was a lot more prevalent, I would not like this card. But this is actually really good, mostly because it's a water Cybers that can chain block the field spell search. And I'll get to that when I get into the main combo. He'll be like my extender of choice for like the full towers drawing cards turbo sort of combo. Because basically, if you don't know, the win condition of this deck is a really big monster that's unaffected by opponent's card effects via a field spell, and usually that monster ends up drawing you multiple cards over the course of your turn and their turn. So it's just big monster that's hard to get rid of and draws cards. Sound like True Draco? I think so. I wasn't actually a huge fan of the Frog engine, but in this format, again, Nibiru isn't great and Toad is insane, so I'm actually a huge fan of it. So of course we're playing the 3 Swap Frog, the 1 Rodent, and the 1 Dupe. You actually don't even have to play dupe. I actually like it though, just because of the lore effect. And I mean, if you have nothing else, yeah, it can brick you a little bit, but if there's anything I would have cut it for, it would have been like another Pot of Desires or something, which is good, but I don't like, I'm gonna be real, I'm a coward, I don't like 3 Desires. But yeah, I think this card's nice. Ronin Totem, obviously, and 3 Swap Frogs. This is just a super, just explosive engine, especially in the mid game. Like, when you make Toad, and then on the crackback of that, you can end up having like 3 or 4 links worth of material, which is insane in this deck because you're already recurring everything with like your blue slugs. But yeah, I actually think this engine's really good this format. And of course, we are playing a mid-range deck, so we're playing the 3 copies of Ash Blossom and the triple copy of whatever hand trap you want. This is 100% a flex spot. If you want to play like Imperm, you can play that. I really like Crow this format, but I might actually be cutting it for Meister. But yeah, I just really like Crow because it's not hard once per turn. Just can snipe something out of the opponent's graveyard, like in response to something, which is really nice. And I think it just has a little bit more versatility than Meister, not a ton. So really, this could be any hand trap you want. I'm just partial to Crow. That is it for the monsters. I'm pretty sure it is 23. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Onto the spells, we play triple copies of Sign Up Mining. This searches your entire deck. I don't think I have to explain this. Double Pot Desires. This card is completely free once you get the field spell out. The only thing other than the field spell that you really care about, only sometimes even, is just the Ronin Totem. So, like, again, and you get the field spell really early in the combo, so this card's almost completely free in this deck. And then I also pair that, because I'm not playing 3, with my super secret spicy tech. Shoutouts to Crush Cards, actually, for recommending this. I was thinking about it, but then I saw they were playing in their list, and I really liked it. Double Pinpoint Landing. Basically, if you don't know what this thing does, if I'm exactly one monster special summon from the hand to your field, you can draw 1 card. You can only use the effect once per turn, and then during the end phase, if you've not drawn a card by this effect, send it to the grave. That never happens because you have so many things in your deck that's special from hand. Like, you've got the Swap Frog, you've got the Pascalis, you've got the Seahorse, you've got Tang, which gets the Seahorse, you have Sign Up Mining. Like, there's so much, even Sea Archiver. So each turn, it's not as high impact initially as Desires, but like each turn being able to draw a card for no reason, that really adds up. I will be honest, I actually like this card. We play the 1 Battle Ocean. You really only need 1. It's very searchable, and you really just don't want to open it, so I think 1 is fine. This is basically the sanctuary for the deck, where it doesn't really extend your plays, but it's a vital part of your win condition. And then a bunch of power 1-ofs in Reborn, super nice for playing through stuff, obviously. Upstart, just 39 card deck, and then Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave going to 1 did hurt this deck a little bit because it's not the most resilient thing in the world. Like, its combos can falter sometimes, but it's not like it, it just doesn't really hurt that much, but you just prefer to have multiples. Wrapping up the spells, we have 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. This is another flex spot. If combo decks become better and Eldritch just kind of takes a back seat, then this will probably end up becoming, I don't know, maybe like a Meister, could be a Bell. If Imperm becomes good again, it could be Imperm or Valor. But right now, I really like Cosmic in the main, just deals with a lot. And then the 3 traps we're playing. Oh man, this card is nasty. Triple copies of Marincess Wave. So basically what this is an Imperm if you control Marincess Link monster, but if you control Link 2 or higher Marincess, all monsters you control, not just Marincesses, that's important, become unaffected by card effects, so you can have an unaffected Toad, and then if you have a Link 3 or higher Marincess, you can activate this from hand. So this is literally an Imperm you can activate from hand that turns all of your monsters into towers. Oh, this card is so good. One of the weaknesses of this deck is you don't have a consistent way to search this. But honestly, I think if you did, this would probably be a tier 1 deck. This card, if every card in this deck was as good as Wave and Blue Tang are, this deck would be meta for sure. But, I mean, you can't have the world, but like I said, Wave is absolutely incredible. Every time you see this with Tang, you're just smiling because, like, your hand is stacked at that point. It's so good. That is it for the main deck. Perfect 40, because in a control deck, mid-range deck, I think 40 is just the only way to go. Let's get to the extra deck. Triple copies of Blue Slug. I've seen some lists where people play only 2. I think that's a little bit wrong because this, like, the 3rd doesn't come up all the time, but ultimately you have to consider it like this card is Kagari for the deck, basically. This is just recursion for all of your Marincess monsters. It doesn't matter that you can't recur cards because you're just using this as a stepping stone to get into monsters that can recur cards. And this, I mean, this can put back some of your Link monsters as well. It's just really useful for you. Double copies of Sea Angel. This is the field spell searcher, basically. It searches any spell, but there's only the field spell. So basically, the reason we're playing 2 is you use the first one during the combo, but then if you're only playing 1, if they like unicorn away your angel, then you're dead in the water. But also her arrow pointing to the side is actually really useful and comes up more than you think it would. So yes, double Sea Angel I think is just proper. It takes up a little bit of space in the extra deck, but you really don't use too much outside the Marincesses. It's just a very bread and butter type extra deck. The one Crystal Heart, this thing is only used for the field spell, but it also has the effect to where it's unaffected by opponent's monster effects while it's in the extra monster zone. So even though Nibiru isn't great this format, we kind of have to respect it as a card anyway, and there are ways to do the combo where this, I want to say, is your 5th or 6th summon, so they have to Nibiru super early on, and then like after that your entire plays are going to be free to resolve, because the Nibiru would basically either do nothing or it would be just so not worth it that it just would be completely suboptimal to play. Getting into the real meat of the extra deck, double copies of Coral Anemone and then 1 Marbled Rock. I think you only need double Coral because she's very easy to recycle, and if you're playing your resources right, you only ever need 2. I'm going to be honest, I have considered playing 3, but every time that, like, there have been games where I haven't even needed the second one. Like, usually you don't even need that because you also have the Marbled Rock to add it back, Slug can add it back. You can equip it with Wonder Heart as well, which is something we'll get to later on. She's just really, like, obviously she's a fantastic card, but I don't think you need to play 3 of her. And then Marbled Rock, before Eternity Code, I think you probably would have played 2 of this. Like, you can just target Marincess card in grave, except herself, and add it back to hand, which is really nice, just double recursion in tandem with Coral. And then basically kind of like a battle protection effect, which is actually pretty nice. I mean, no one likes taking damage in time, so her having that protection is pretty good against like random striker players still trying to high out to you. You don't want to take that damage. But because we got Marincess Great Bubble Reef, we don't need to play 2 of her anymore. Bubble Reef is the ultimate boss monster for this deck, basically. So during either standby phase, you can banish a water monster from grave or face of field to draw 1 card. Obviously that is once per turn, but you are going to have basically a full pot of greed by the time your opponent's turn passes back to you. So basically over the course of your turn and their turn, you're getting like 2 free draws, and then to add on top of that, each time a monster is banished face up, she gains 600. So she is fueling her own gain, and a lot of monsters banish things face up. A lot of decks in general banish things face up right now. So she will get really big and hard to deal with. And to add on top of that, you can send a water monster from hand to grave and special summon a banished Marincess monster. So the whole combo like just goes through a Coral. You're gonna have a couple waters in grave. You don't want to banish the Coral immediately, but then when your turn swings back around, you banish that Coral, draw 1, pitch a water that you added back off of the Coral to special the Coral back, Coral special the thing back, and then you're just getting free link material for no reason. It's not the greatest boss monster because the deck doesn't disrupt a ton, but it's just super resource intensive and is just a headache to deal with sometimes. The last Marincess we're playing, I'm not a huge fan of it, but it is nice. 1 Wonder Heart, this is something that Jordan recommended. Basically what it does is once per battle during stamina calculation, this card battles a monster. You can special summon 1 of your Marincess monsters that's equipped to it, obviously by the field spell, and then this card cannot be destroyed by battle for that turn and you take no damage. So basically kind of serves as like a second Marbled Rock with that effect. And then during the end phase, you re-equip the card that was special summoned by this effect. And then if this card in its owner's possession destroyed by opponent's card, you can special summon a link 3 or lower Marincess monster from grave. Also good for recursion because you can just float into this. It's a good card for sure, but if there's any Marincess monster I would probably cut from the extra deck, it would probably be this one. But again, I think this is definitely a good card that it does come up, but it's situational. So I'm not the biggest fan of it. That is it for the Marincess part of the extra deck. Most of it is Marincess cards. It's very just, like, you only ever make them for the most part. But there are other monsters you make sometimes, such as Splash Mage. Splash Mage basically targets the Cybers in grave to special summon in defense position. Those effects are negated and then your Cyber slocked for the rest of the turn, which really doesn't matter. Most of our monsters that we're making are Cyberses. Shooting Code is actually the complete spice in this deck. So basically, I don't have access code talker, but what this card does is at the start of battle phase, you can activate this effect. This battle phase, this card becomes Tyranno, equal to the number of monsters it points to plus 1, so you can attack once, twice, or 3 times. Usually you have it twice, sometimes 3. And then it basically keeps its 2300 attack until it punches into your opponent's only monster, in which case it loses 400, but that almost never comes up because you can usually lead with this thing because he is big. And then at the end of battle phase, you can draw cards equal number of monsters this card destroyed by battle this turn. So you have a Tyranno mixed in with either Upstart Goblin, Pot of Greed, or Card of Demise. This card is so just, like, you don't need to win games when you can punch over your opponent, draw a million cards, and then lock him out and then just kill him next turn. Like, it literally makes no difference. So yeah, this card is super good. If you don't have access code, I highly recommend playing it in this deck. This is another thing that Jordan recommended to me, and it has not disappointed me. One transcode talker, I like this card, but I also hate this card. It's not water, so you can't make it if you blue slug that turn, you can't make it if you coral that turn, so you kind of have to give up some of your recursion. But it's not horrible, because the blue slug and coral only lock you afterwards, but you just kind of have to have a couple extra cards to get to where you need to, which again, you're drawing a lot of cards, so it's not that hard to get there. But he just takes a little bit more resources. Again, though, if you can get him locked up with a shooting code pointing to the bubble reef, like shooting code's going to be 2800, you're going to be drawing a bunch of cards, and yeah, you're going to be Cyber's waterlocked usually, but it really doesn't matter because, like, the only monster that's not a water or a Cyber's, like, he's the only one that's not a water, and there's only one monster here we're about to get that's not a Cyber's, which is, of course, the Toad. We're playing the Frog against this, so we have to play their boss monster. This card is just so good. Like, especially with all the power cards running around, like Lightning Storm, like Feather Duster, Imperm's running around a little bit. You can also negate, like, an opponent's, Lulu and take it, which is kind of nice. Like the Drytron cards, Ben 10, like there's a lot to negate, and the deck doesn't have a ton of negates, so this just kind of fills in that role. So yeah, that is it for the deck. Off to the combos. Alrighty guys, welcome to the combo half of the video. The only combo I'm going to be showing you is just the standard bread and butter one. I'm not going to show you the full extender. Like, if you had another extender, you can make the bubble reef, but I think it's pretty easy to figure out how to get there. But for the regular combo, all you need is either Blue Tang, Synapse Mining plus discard, or Seahorse. I'm just going to go with Blue Tang because it's the most optimal one to see. So you just normal summon the Blue Tang, and you use her effect to send a Seahorse from deck to grave. So this obviously is in the graveyard. Then you link the Blue Tang off of the Blue Slug. Then you go Chainlink 1 Blue Tang, target Seahorse, Chainlink 2 Blue Tang effect, reveal top 3 because you don't want this to get belled. I'm not going to reveal top 3 because I have the deck all straightened out and everything, and I just want to show the resources you can get off the one card. But you'll hit that, sometimes you'll whiff, sometimes you will hit wave and just be insane, but usually it's okay, you get like another random water monster. So you get the Seahorse. Seahorse does not activate, so you just special her to Blue Slug Zone, and then you link for the Sea Angel. Now Angel is going to activate to search the field spell in the Battle Ocean. Then you activate the Battle Ocean, link these two off for the copy of Coral Anemone. You can use Ocean effect to equip just if you want to burn time, like, because I know time is a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh, so you kind of have to exploit it, so you just equip the two. Coral can target either the Seahorse or the Tang engraved special. I just go with, it really doesn't matter, I just go with whatever. So then you just special it back, and then you link 3 for the Marbled Rock. So then you activate Chainlink 1 Coral, target Seahorse or Tang to add back. It really doesn't matter. Chainlink 2 Ocean, equip. I would add back Seahorse because, again, this chain blocks for Bell, which is really nice. So then you just equip the 3, and then the Seahorse is in hand. And then use Marbled Rock, target Tang, add back the Tang. So off of one card, you have a 4500 link 3, the field spell, a bunch of equips, which basically if it's sent to graveyard, you'll float again because Coral, Battle Protection, and then the ability to make even more extension next turn. Let me show you the 2-card combo now. Alright, so looking back, I know I said I wouldn't show the full Bubble Reef combo, but I do want to show it just so you don't, like, completely lose yourself in, like, Nibiru land, Gamma land. Like, I'll just show you one of the more safe ways to do it. So we'll do, like, say we have the Sea Archiver and we had the Seahorse. This is just pretty good. If you had Tang, then you can send Seahorse and you have another just water engrave, which is nice, but we'll just say we have these two. So what you do is you just normal summon the Seahorse, link for Slug, everything is standard so far, add back the Seahorse, special Seahorse, and then make the Angel. Now it's important that you go Chainlink 1 Angel, Chainlink 2 Archiver, because you don't want Angel to eat Ash here. So you special the Sea Archiver, and then you search for the field spell. Then you activate the field spell, and then you link. It doesn't really matter what you link off, but you link 2 of your things, including the blue slug, off for the Crystal Heart. Now, Crystal Heart is unaffected by opponent's monster effects while in the extra monster zone. And if you're counting, you normal summon Seahorse, that's 1, Link Slug, that's 2, Special that's Seahorse, that's 3, Sea Angel, that's 4, Special Archiver, that's 5. This is the 6th summon. Obviously, there are ways to get there for the 5th summon, but I mean, it's just a matter of if you want to play like Silent Angler. I was playing that before. The card just didn't treat me right. I liked the Archiver a lot more, but again, that's another card you could be playing. But anyways, Crystal Heart is the 6th summon, so now Nibiru is just super suboptimal. So what you do now is you link these 2 off for the Coral Anemone. And because Coral was made with Crystal Heart as material, it is unaffected by opponent's card effects. So they can't bell it here, they can't gamma it here, they can't do anything to it now. So the rest of your combo is basically going to resolve without a hitch. Of course, you activate Ocean Equipping 2. And use Ocean, target the Coral, target Crystal Heart special. So this gives you a link 4 worth of material for the Marincess Great Bubble Reef. And of course, you go Chain Link 1, the Coral, target Seahorse, add back so you don't lose the bell. Chain Link 2, Ocean, equip everything in Grave, all 3 Link monsters, except for Coral. You want to keep Coral in Grave so you can banish her and summon her back Great Bubble. Stand just equip 3. Now you have a 4,600 towers that during your opponent's standby phase, you're going to banish Coral, draw a card. What do we get? Oh, we hit Crow. Neat. Again, this is all off of 2 cards, so we're drawing cards. We have a 5,200 monster that's unaffected by card effects. And just, yeah, you're just going to start whittling away on your opponent because they're going to have to invest a ton of resources to get rid of this thing, and you just got all of your resources back. So yeah, the deck is just super grindy, like I said. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends, and I will see y'all later. This is Pay 8. Still feeling great. I'll see y'all later. Peace.